Welcome to the United States of Tiffany. Our commentary offers a humorous take on wrestling. Please note, we're not bullying or attacking the wrestlers. We're engaging with the choreographed sport and its storylines. Our jokes and observations are about the characters and storylines, not the real people behind them. Tourists and citizens alike, welcome. Enjoy the show, and remember, it's all in good fun.
Oh my goodness. Wowzers. If you missed Smackdown, you missed a pretty good show. To start this off, let me tell y'all, this is the last of the 3-hour show saga. We will be moving back to 2 hours. Thank God. Three hours is too much. They were making good use of the 3 hours, but 3 hours is too much. So shout out to Kayla. Hello. Eli. Hello. Aaliyah. Hello. We survived barely. It's crazy. Y'all. Let's start from the end and go to the beginning. Okay. First, we got to address the technical difficulties. So, according to WrestleOps, PW Insider, and Fightful Select, and the various other dirt sheets, the issue was that Riyadh lost power. That is why, in the beginning, when we saw Cody Rhodes and Randy's promo, that is why we got that promo from a side view, almost outside of the ring, in where the arena, where the fans are. That's kind of why we got that. Is because they lost power in Riyadh, and it affected the broadcast. Now, you guys know that anybody who lives outside of the States, can you turn it down a little bit? Anybody who lives outside of the States, their power, they have to watch the shows via Netflix. So Netflix lost their stuff for 30 minutes. That was pretty much the gist of Cody and Randy's promo back and forth, with the exception of a few minutes over from that. So they lost power in Riyadh. They finally got it restored, and everything was able to go back to normal production. They lost power in the production truck, and they lost power in Gorilla. They couldn't see or hear anything, which is nutso. But they were able to get the thing going. They still had technical difficulties throughout the show. If you notice, Wade Barrett made a little bit of a mistake during the show, and he was telling them, hey, I lost the connection to my my headset. I couldn't see. Like, things were really going off the rails there. But they seem to have been able to regain control and be able to get the show back to 100%, which we love that for them. So let's get into what was going on, honey. Because today is the day you motherfuckers is going to kick in, okay? CM Punk said, since last week you decided to steal my whole flow bar for bar, I decided this week to return the favor. And bitch, he did not disappoint. He didn't. He really didn't. He came to play. Okay. He came to steal. Okay. Okay. He was out there rhyming. He was out there spitting bars. Okay. The biggest part was at the end. The closer, the true bomb, if you will. Okay. CM Punk said something to the effect of, tomorrow is going to be your last wish. Okay. Something to the effect of, tomorrow's going to be your last wish. And then he went into Drake and Kendrick Lamar. And basically, he was alluding to John Cena being his Drake. He called him a bitch and then said, because bitch, you're my Drake. I can't tell you word for word what he said. All I can tell you was go on Twitter, and I'm sure you can find it. Okay? But let me tell you something. After the shit we saw with Kendrick Lamar and Drake and that whole saga, nigga, that's a bar. Okay? He messed that man up. He ate his ass up all night. Okay? Kayla said, good old Uncle Phil ate and left no crumb. He did. He really did. It must have been hotter than the devil's butt crack, baby. CM Punk came out there dressed in all of his best Dr. Thugonomics with his custom CM Punk J's on. Had his Chicago Bulls hat backwards. You know, he was giving very much Dr. Thugonomics with all that he could give, even down to the lock on the chain. He was giving, okay? And didn't let John Cena say nothing, because when John came out there, he was talking about how CM Punk was all out of tricks. He's a genius. He done outworked him, outsmarted him, but he forgot who he was dealing with. Okay, he forgot. Now, one thing about it, the two things for sure, CM Punk always got a plan. Okay, there was always a plan when it comes to Phil. Okay, now sometimes he gonna lose, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes he win. But when we're talking about cutting promos, that's not the one that you just think you're gonna be done with in the end. He's not the type of dude, the type of wrestler where you could just cut a promo on him like that and you steal his whole flow bar for bar, word for word, and you just change a few things so it makes sense for you. And you think he ain't gonna have no rebuttal? Girl, you lost your damn mind. This is what I was saying on Twitter last week. That while, yes, the promo was nasty, it was a nasty promo by John Cena. It also was a word for word, bar for bar promo that was cut on CM Punk. CM Punk did the same thing to John Cena. It was intentional. All of that was intentional. One, it was like a receipt that needed to be given from John Cena to CM Punk. And number two, it was John Cena's way of like saying that anything you can do, I can do better. But CM Punk was like, anything you can do, I can do better. And I can do anything better than you. And before he could say, no, I can't, CM Punk socked him in the shit. Because that whole flow, that whole fucking bar for bar, he tore his ass up. John Cena didn't even have a chance to rebuttal. He didn't even have to come back. He couldn't say nothing. What can you say? I mean, this man literally came out there dressed up like you and then ate your ass up better than you could have done anybody on the microphone. He done tore your ass a new one. I would just leave at this point. I wouldn't even be in there. I'd be like, you know what? You got it. It is yours. You earned it. It's yours. Anita Max Williams still hasn't caught his breath to this day. Okay. Now, Phil got to clean the plate. Child, he tore his ass up today. I don't know what type of shit Phil said he was drug free, but you got to be smoking something premium to do some shit like that. Okay. That was messy. Now we working backwards. Okay. We is working backwards. Because Nia Jax faced off against Tiffany Stratton. She lost. She did all she could to win and she lost. Now here's how she lost. To make it plain for you so you can understand how she lost. Tiffany was in the ring getting beat up by Nia. both of them had barely got to their feet because Tiffany had put Nia through the table. They both were spent from being put through the table and, of course, fighting each other. So Naomi came out there to possibly cash in and get her championship. And this is when Tiffany took her briefcase and used it, knocked out Naomi, laid out Nia on Naomi, and then she did the prettiest moonsault on both of them. Then Naomi rolled out the ring. Her briefcase was still in there. Tiffany used the briefcase to knock out Nia. Nia fell through the tables. Nia couldn't make through the 10 count. So that's how she ended up losing. Okay. If you care. Okay. The Wyatt Six went up against the Street Profits, but of course, the entire locker room for the men's tag team division were out there, including the remaining members of the Wyatt Six. Now, prior to them coming out there, B-Fat made it very clear that if they needed her to come here and give them some backup, because you know they got a little Batmite and a partner in Nikki Cross, she would come out there and get her out the way so they can do what they got to do. But that was not necessary. Nikki did not involve herself. However, the entire tag team division did. So much so that it cost the Wyatt Six their match, and the Street Profits ended up retaining via disqualification. Now, all of this led to full-on chaos. All the tag teams are in there fighting and scrapping with each other. Eric Rowan went in there and cleaned out the entire ring, only for the damn Axiom and for Motor City Machine Guns to attempt to get rid of Eric Rowan, but Nathan Frazier ended up getting caught. Now, Motor City Machine Guns took out Eric Rowan while Frazier was in his arms, and that's when Axiom ended up suffering a Sister Abigail via Uncle Howdy. But even he was not safe because the Street Profits took him out as well, and then took out the entire tag team division as a whole. The Street Profits were the ones to stand tall, and everybody else was laid out. Now, this is a sign, obviously, that the Street Profits ain't going down without a fight. And obviously, the tag team division are tired of the Wyatt Six ruining their matches or just attacking them as a whole. But everybody knows that the Wyatt Six are never ones to forget, nor are they going to just let this kind of behavior fly. So we'll just have to wait and see how all of this plays out. But for now, the Street Profits are still your tag team champions. Moving back some up, okay? There was a tag team match between DIY and Andrade, and he had a special partner in none other than Rey Fenix. They came out there and looked great as a tag team, if I do say so myself. I thought they looked beautiful. I thought they worked well. If they decide to make them a tag team, I would not be surprised, and I actually would rather enjoy it. But the mid-card division still needs bodies. And while we got Big Jim, you've got Jacob Fatu, you've got Solo, I still say you should keep Rey Fenix in that mix. But we'll wait and see. For the most part, they did exceptionally well against DIY, and they did pick up the win against DIY. It seemed that Johnny Gargano may have tweaked his knee a little bit in this match, but it wasn't too much for him to finish out the show later on in the night when the Street Profits faced off against the Wyatt Six, because he and Tommaso Ciampa were out there together. Okay? And with that being said, we're going to proceed forward because it is unfortunate, but Zelina Vega's reign as United States champion for the women has come to an end. Julia targeted Zelina Vega from the moment she saw her with that championship, and she made it very clear that she was coming after her. And Zelina Vega, never one backing down from a fight, decided to take the fight to Julia after a horrendous attack a few weeks prior. Now, I will say this, Zelina Vega did her big one against Julia, and she proved that she was a formidable fighting champion. But the only issue is Julia's ring awareness and her skill overrode the heart of Zelina Vega, and Julia was able to best Vega even at her best in the ring in Saudi. But I will say, y'all, I tell y'all this, let me tell y'all something. Zelina Vega's gear was on point today, okay? I loved her gear. I loved it. I loved it. It was gorgeous. Okay. She had some of the best gear outside of Naomi that I saw today. It was so good. Such good gear. Anyways, unfortunately for Vega, she was not able to beat the Beautiful Madness, and she now is in her first reign as the United States champion. And this is going to be interesting because when you have a champion like Julia, it always attracts someone who is very much at the top or somebody who is looking to gain gold who hasn't had it in a while. So I'm very curious as to who is going to be her first opponent. Now, Zelina Vega could challenge Julia for another title shot, which I suspect that she will, which would fill a slot that they would need to have at Evolution, in my opinion. But I'm not quite sure as to how WWE is going to proceed forward with Julia. But one thing I do know is that whoever they decide to let her be her opponent or her next feud, it's going to be interesting nonetheless. In Julia's intro, her vignette package, she made it very clear that Zelina Vega respected her, but she was in her way. And she said, look, you think this title is the end all be all for you. I don't. This title is a stepping stone. This title solidifies my place in this company, not only in the company, but in the history books. And I'm going to keep striving until I get everything that I want. You were a byproduct of what I wanted. You got in my way, so I got rid of you. It was very simple, very to the point. I like it. It was interesting. So I'm very curious as to how this is going to go when we go forward. Now, speaking of going forward, the Queen of the Ring tournament is heating up, okay? Because Jade made it very clear to Asuka that everybody feared her, but she was like, girl, I don't. She was like, I came here to prove a point, and going up against you and beating you is only going to prove my point, that I belong here and that I belong at the top. And she was like, as soon as I get my chance and my crown, I'm taking my ass all the way to all the way to SummerSlam. And then I'm not only taking the belt, I'm taking the whole damn throne. And I said, you better talk your shit. But Asuka was like, girl, just because you strong don't mean that's all it takes for you to win. She said, I got the skill. I have the experience. And you don't. She was like, girl, do you know who I am? I am Asuka. And she was like, you and nobody is ready for Asuka. Now she said something in Japanese, but I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, and I didn't have on no headphones that can decipher that. Okay. So y'all just gonna have to find out or ask somebody who speaks Japanese. Because I didn't hear that part. Okay. She just told her nobody was ready for her. And Jay was like, girl, I got your number. And she was like, oh girl, you don't. Then Nene came out there. And Nene said, girl, it don't matter which one of you hoes with. It really don't. Because if you end up going to SummerSlam, I hold all the power, whether you become champion or not. Okay? She said the power is with me. I'm the one. Not the two or the three, but the one. Okay? And no matter what you do and how great you are, you still are going to have to contend with the fact that I can be the one to take away all your dreams for you. She was like, Jay, girl, how does it feel to know that no matter what you do, I will always be there to ruin your greatest plans? She was like, girl, I ended the big three. I damn near took away your career, but I took off a good chunk of it. And on top of that, I ended your opportunity at becoming this Queen of the Ring. More specifically, not Queen of the Ring, but ended your opportunity to get this damn briefcase. Everything you wanted, I've already attained. You are just following behind me, sweetheart. But I'll let you know what. She said it'll be all the sweeter if you become champion and I get the chance to rip that away from you too. I was like, girl, damn. That's fucked up. Now she came on the apron and Jade moved Asuka out the way and tried to take out Naomi because Naomi screamed like a banshee. And that's when Asuka grabbed Jade and kicked her in her face and took her out. She basically was yelling at her right here in this picture. Don't put your hands on me, girl. Don't touch me, girl. Don't do that. You mind your business. And then the first segment, like I told y'all, was Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. And Randy made it very clear that he loved them. They was cool. And he respected everything he brought to the table. And he also gave him all the props in the world for the wonderful match that he had with Jey Uso on Monday. But that was not going to be enough to stop Randy Orton from getting his lick back on John Cena. He said, John Cena embarrassed me, not in front of just my fans and my hometown, but in front of my family, in front of my friends. My wife and my kids were front row, and he embarrassed me in my hometown. If you think that I am not going to go through you to get to him, then you are sorely mistaken. He said, everything that I have done in my lifetime is leading up to this, and that crown is a ticket to John Cena. And if you're in my way, I will do whatever I have to get rid of you. Now, Cody took the more diplomatic route. And Cody said, everybody's talking about King of the Ring and them winning. And nobody's been able to let me get a word in edgewise, but let me just tell you straight up. He said, you don't need this crown to prove anything. You're a champion 30 times over with all the titles that you've acquired combined. That doesn't get erased because you lost one match to John Cena. If you measure your career by one match with John Cena, then you have really lost what it meant to be a champion or what it means to be a superstar to these people and in this ring. Your legacy is already built. It's solidified and it's in the history books. Hell, you're a first ballot Hall of Famer when you hang up your boots. So none of that matters. You say that you need this crown to go after John Cena because you were embarrassed? He said, I need this crown and I'm going to get it. And no, it's no hard feelings. It's just business. But after all the respect and all the things, the mentor and the student, everything has come to a head. We are now in a place where the two of us are battling it out to prove ourselves that we deserve this crown. But not only that, that we get another shot at John Cena. And if you beat me to get there, then so be it. But I promise you, I can't let you do that. I'm going to crown to Night of Champions. I'm going to beat you, and then I'm going to SummerSlam to destroy John Cena. Now, both men was in the ring. They dropped their microphones, and that was that. And that was pretty much it. We worked our way down from Smackdown this time. We went from the top to the bottom. And if I missed something, it wasn't worth talking about. It just wasn't. Now, they had the press conference for Night of Champions, and everybody showed up. You know, Samuel was there, Karrion was there, you know, all of the peoples was there, you know, living their best life, doing their thing or whatever. Rachel was there, Rhea was there, everybody was there, you know. They mentioned that SmackDown, like I told y'all, is going back to 2 hours, but next week's Monday Night Raw is going to start at 6 instead of at 8 o'clock. Don't ask me why. I don't know why. That has not been disclosed to me. So I don't know why. Okay? It's just if you want to watch it, it's coming on 2 hours early. Okay? Which to me is amazing because that means I can do my little live afterwards and go to bed before 12. So kudos WWE, I guess. Now, Night of Champions is tomorrow at 1 in the afternoon. Let me reiterate. If you are on the East Coast, it is at 1. If you are on the West Coast, it is at 10 a.m. 10 a.m. for the West Coast, 1 p.m. for the East Coast. Okay, this is John Cena's last Saudi show, and this is his last Riyadh match. We are counting down the days because John Cena's last final match is going to be in Saturday Night Main Event in December, I believe. Okay, so let's get into the match card. Non-title bout. Sami Zayn is facing off against Karrion Kross. I think I picked Karrion for this particular match. My heart wants Sami to win, but I feel like Karrion is going to win, unfortunately for Sami. This is a street fight. Cobra Back is facing off against Mommy. These two had it out on stage today at the kickoff, and so did Sami and Karrion Kross. But this is a street fight between the two of these women. It's all stemmed from Raquel Rodriguez keeping Rhea Ripley from winning in her fatal four-way match, and Rhea Ripley returned the favor, only for Rhea Ripley to now be put through a table this past Monday. And of course, Cobra Back was standing tall with her new little minion friend, Roxanne Rodriguez. Now, with this being a street fight, I don't expect Raquel to win this match. If she does on her own, I expect Roxanne Perez to come in for the save and help her out like she did this past Monday. But I think Rhea Ripley's going to will out and win in the end. I don't think Raquel is going to beat her. Honestly, truly, I just don't. I could be wrong, but I don't think that I am. The King of the and Queen of the Ring tournaments are finally in the finals. And right now, we are looking at the two finalists for the Queen of the Ring tournament. Jade Cargill will face off against the Empress of Tomorrow. While I love Jade Cargill, and while I believe that Jade Cargill is owed an opportunity and will get great things, I think that the best way to go about this is to give Asuka this W and let Asuka and Io put on a classic at SummerSlam. And let Tiffany Stratton gain her opponent in another way. And it could be Jade Cargill when she gains that opponent, but who knows? However, I'm picking Asuka to win this match against Jade Cargill. No shade to Jade Cargill. I think she will do just fine. But to me, I really want to see Asuka versus Io, and I think this is the easiest way to go about it without being too obvious, you know? Moving on to the men's King of the Ring tournament, and this is the finals. You've got two of the biggest superstars in WWE to date. Randy Orton, the OG, the vet, the mentor, and now, of course, you have Cody Rhodes, the mentee, the student. And, of course, he himself is considered an OG, but these two have known each other for years, and they currently are at odds not only to prove themselves worthy of another title shot against John Cena, but for the right to call themselves the King of the Ring. Now, last year, Randy came up short just a little bit. He was put under an immense amount of pressure, getting beat down prior to, and then having to face off with one of the strongest opponents in WWE history in Gunther. He put up a good fight, but ultimately, him not being 100% is what cost him his opportunity at that King of the Ring crown. This time, Randy Orton is 100% and ready to go, but he faces a brick wall of Cody Rhodes. Who's going to win? Randy is the one who seems to be foaming at the mouth the most to get this W. It doesn't seem like this is something Cody really cares about or wants. Even though he makes it very clear that he wants to be the King of the Ring, I believe that the person who's going to win in this particular matchup is going to be Randy Orton. And we're going to see a run back of Randy versus John Cena at SummerSlam one more time. And Cody Rhodes will get his turn at John Cena later on down the line. With all that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the last title bout before we get to the big kahuna. Jacob Fatu has defected from the Bloodline, Solo's version of the Bloodline. And while Solo tried to reel him back in, more so force him back in to control his monster, unfortunately, he is off the leash and no longer wants to be a part of the bloodline. Solo is jealous, and it makes it very clear why he's jealous of his friend, family, cousin, Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf. And instead of Solo being proud of Jacob and his W, he has decided to try to take him down and take that title with him. And not only that, he's brought in JC Mateo as his insurance. The same way he kept Jacob under his thumb is the same way that he's keeping JC Mateo under his thumb. Now, it really is up to Jacob how this will play out. Solo is not going to have an easy fight against Jacob. Jacob is a hard-hitting opponent, and he is not easy to keep down. And while Jacob, in his own right, is probably one of the best and strongest WWE superstars they've acquired, Solo isn't an easy person to beat either. I know in the last couple of years, Solo hasn't been exactly very strong in the win column, but he's a very hard-hitting opponent as well, and formidable with his Samoan spike. It really depends on who you believe is going to win. With Solo having insurance with JC Mateo, it is possible that he could win this United States Championship at Riyadh. But it is also possible that now that the Big Jim and Jacob have kind of mended fences between the two of them, that Jacob may have a little insurance to cancel out Mateo, and it could be just him and Solo finally, and then we'll see who's the better man. I'm hoping for the latter. I'm hoping that JC Mateo is removed from this situation and that Solo and Jacob really fight it out amongst themselves. And I hope Jacob wins. But with the way that Triple H is running the thing nowadays and how the villains usually have the upper hand, I wouldn't be too surprised if Solo walks out of Riyadh with that United States Championship. With that being said, good luck and Godspeed. Final match of the night is going to be obviously what everybody's talking about. The classic, the biggest feud of the century. CM Punk and John Cena are revisiting a 14-year-old rivalry that we haven't seen in years, a decade. These two men have been cutting promos on each other and eating each other alive for weeks. And now we have finally come to the final blows, physical blows, and who will walk out of Riyadh as champion. I would love for CM Punk to beat John Cena and win, but I have a sneaking suspicion that this is all going to come down to a very quick low blow or a thumb to the eye, and John Cena is going to end up winning, probably by using CM Punk's go to sleep, which is an even stronger nail in the coffin, if we're being honest. What are you looking for? Yeah. It sucks, but it is possible. So I'm going to go with John Cena's going to retain and continue on being champion. Unfortunately for CM Punk, he is going to suffer a loss, but it's for the greater good. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed my recap of SmackDown and the possibilities of Night of Champions. Currently, right now, Evolution is starting to be booked. JC Jane's match has been booked and is decided. She will face off against Jordynne Grace in Evolution in 2 weeks. And of course, we've got countless other matches to be made. Tag team titles have to be defended. The mid-card championship should be defended. And of course, you have Tiffany Stratton, who currently doesn't have any opponent going into SummerSlam. And she just defended her title today, so she more than likely won't defend her title at Evolution, but she may have a match. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But seeing as how this is Evolution, somebody should be defending their title at Evolution outside of the mid-card titles and the tag team titles. That's just me. Also, Saturday Night Main Event is that same day, as is NXT's Great American Bash. All right. The Saturday Night Main Event has one of their matches booked as well For the men, Goldberg will be competing against Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. If you care. I do not, so I will not be watching. Later on, 2 to 3 weeks, almost a month after Evolution, the Saturday Night Main Event is SummerSlam. SummerSlam is set to be a 2-night event, and it is set to be Saturday, August 2nd and Sunday, August 3rd, emanating from MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. Then there seems to be a little bit of a break, and then in October, Crown Jewel's entire weekend will be set up from October 10th to October 13th, with Crown Jewel being on Saturday, October 11th. Friday will be Smackdown, of course, and Monday will be Monday Night Raw. All right. And then 3 weeks from there, Clash in Paris happens on the 31st of August, and they will stay in Paris until that Monday for Monday Night Raw. And then we are going quiet until, of course, Survivor Series. And then they'll be getting ready to prepare for their little break. And then it's Mania season. Royal Rumble is set to be emanated from Riyadh, from what I understand, for next year. And then WrestleMania is set for 2 nights, Saturday, April 18th and Sunday, April 19th. Ladies and gentlemen, we have been bombarded with wrestling. So every other week, I will be doing Reading and Chill, where I'll either continue reading Rico's book, or we will start doing some Am I the Assholes or Reddit posts and just chill out and relax. If you guys want to be a part of that, make sure you rate, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel anyway if you enjoy my lives 3 times a week. Okay, and there will be some more content coming your way very, very soon. I will see you guys next time. Love yous. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe for more wrestling content. Check out our merch and consider becoming a member for exclusive perks, special emojis, and members-only content.